Member for Wollondilly. Member for Monero, come to order.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. This question is directed to the Minister for Planning and Public Spaces. In March 25, the Minister announced a statement of expectation into local government planning assessment and placed independent planning consultant at Wingecarribee Shire Council. Could the Minister provide an update on the Planning Minister's expert report into the Council planning functions announced in March 25? What were the findings and recommendation on the expert review, and what does this mean for our community?
Call the Minister.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank the member for her question, someone who understands and I can appreciate the concerns of many in her community who are experiencing at times significant levels of frustration with their local council. I can understand why, because when you boil this down, lengthy DA assessment times means that new homes are built more slowly, the job-creating investments disappear, or environmental improvements are delayed or perhaps not pursued at all. And that's an overall poor outcome for any community, because those are the real world outcomes when the planning system takes too long to make decisions, whoever the planning authority might be. Speaker, this financial year so far, Wingecarribee Council has taken an average of 181 days to assess and determine local development applications. Now, that's down, I will acknowledge it's down from the 321 days, almost a year, which the Council recorded at its worst, but it is still more than 70 days where it should be as a bare minimum. It's still not good enough. But it's important to recognise that it's not only Wingecarribee Shire who aren't delivering on their commitments to their community. Among the top 10 worst performing councils in the state includes Georges River, Bega Valley and Liverpool, while other councils like Dubbo, Port Stephens and Lismore are recording average DA processing times as little as 40 to 50 days. Speaker, too many councils are still taking too long to assess and determine local DAs. And that's often applications for things like fences and pools and granny flats, or renovations and modifications to existing homes. We've been sweating the small stuff in New South Wales for far too long. Most DAs, about 90% of DAs that go into the system in New South Wales are for projects of $1 million or less. And it's why the government passed landmark legislation at the end of last year to reform the planning system in New South Wales. It's why we've introduced common sense reforms to planning systems to make sure that in an assessment, people are considering the essential information on what's proposed and the merits of those issues. It's why we want greater emphasis on upfront strategic planning, so that when you get to the stage of submitting a DA, the process is simpler. Speaker, as the member has acknowledged, this isn't the first time that this government has been telling councils to pick up their game, as we have been doing at a state level. That's because when we came to government, those opposites had led council performance collapse, with an average DA assessment times blowing out to 116 days. There was no transparency on performance, and that's why, as the member indicated, I introduced a statement of expectations that set out those performance expectations to improve average assessment times. Alongside that, we've been publishing a league table of performance so that the public can see the performance of their local councils, because ratepayers...
Member for Wollondilly.
Can I have an extension of time,
of course,
please?
the additional 2 minutes granted.
Thank you, Speaker, because the ratepayers deserve an insight into the performance so they can hold the leadership of their local communities to account. Right? That's what should be. That's the quid pro quo in our democracy. And lo and behold, some of those actions have produced results. DA assessment times are down by around a third, but not all councils were improving their performance. So to address that, I brought in expert planners in councils where performance really needed to improve. Now, those councils were Wingecarribee, as the member for Wollondilly has pointed out, as well as Georges River, Sutherland and Willoughby. Experts were installed to oversee and assess the processes and determine where improvements can happen. The experts have now finalised their reports and recommendations, and I've now issued action plans to those councils. The action plans are required to be adopted on the floor of councils by the end of June, and their implementation will be closely monitored. Because the government expects councillors to show leadership their communities expect. That's what they were elected to do. Adopt the action plans. And if they don't, the government will take further action, which could include the removal of planning powers from individual councils. Elected councils and senior council staff need to show the leadership they need to set the standard. We expect them to do that work. They need to embed a culture of can-do, because without that, their communities can do nothing. From the 1st of July this year, a statement of expectations will reset our standard for council performance so that there's no more than an average of 95 days assessment time, with further expectations for improvement. Now, I hope to see Wingecarribee Shire Council and those other councils that I mentioned earlier, and every council, in fact, in New South Wales, not only just seeking to meet the expectation in that standard of expectations document, to exceed it. Outperform your hearts out, because if you're outperforming, then the students in the gallery have got a fair shot at getting a house and a job in the community they want to live in.